Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333, and welcome back to Hearthstone 4, the New Order Last Days of Europe as the Siberian National Republic. Now, in the last video, we beat back the monarchist in Krasnoyarsk. And, yeah, we're watching as, Mr. Moneybags over here tries to beat back Omsk and Surgut and all these lovable characters. So yeah, that's what we're up to. So only beaten one down. Oh, okay, that's fucking disgusting. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, game, what have you done? That's fucking rough. Let's get some resource extraction going and new artillery. Oh, oh, game, why do you do this to me? Why? Oh my god, that's going on Reddit. If I remember to post it on Reddit. Oh god. Oh god. And they're not going to be able to unify because of that. Oh, Jesus Christ, that is fucking horrible. I mean, they'll get cores. Oh, national focus, that's right. We might want to get working on that. Let's do a new dawn for the Republic. Excuse me. After no small amount of bloodshed, political intrigue, and economic struggles, we finally managed to unify almost all of Siberia. From the humble beginnings in the freezing port of Magadan to the present, it seems as if it was forever ago that we were barely clinging on to our lives. However, there's still much work still has to be done. While we're still planning on pushing westward to reunify the entirety of Russia, there's also much to deal with domestically. The former Vo's tyrant and dictator Mikhail Mikolsky once promised sweeping reforms to placate the people and to create the illusion of cooperation to attract the investment of the Americans. However, his words were ingenuine, and his promises false. Now that he has been removed from power, we can focus on real and meaningful reforms. There we go. Could exert influence in Kazakhstan, which ultimately is just invading them. I'm not too worried about it, honestly. Petlin adjusted his classes as he entered Mikolsky's office in the old RFP headquarters in Magadan. The place definitely seemed lived in. Shot glasses with neat whiskey in them and bottles of vodka just gathering dust littered in the desk where the former Vo's once had sat. Mikolsky likely knew that he was being arrested and prepared himself accordingly. Petlin did not just expect him to indulge in alcohol in the twilight hours of his political career. Outside, the wind howled, pounding in the window panes with savage force. Petlin wanted to shiver, but he was not cold. He remembered the sight of Mikolsky as the guards hauled him away to prison awaiting trial. A pair of bloodshot eyes and a pale face that screamed utter defeat. Once he believed that Mikolsky was somewhat of a good man, standing up against the black shirts and the savage barbarity that was commonplace in Harbin were virtuous deeds. When Petlin proposed the Siberian Bill of Rights, the old Voz seemed excited at the prospect of a renewed gesture at political reform. However, right in this office a few years ago, he remembered as Mikolsky tore the bill, decrying his ideas as too liberal. Then came the Dalstroy scandal. Mikolsky was a monster all along. No more Harbin, Petlin said to Mikolsky. No more the atrocities. No more the ideologies that debase us to the level of beasts. He strode to Mikolsky's favorite gramophone and turned it on. March of Siberian riflemen filled the air. He picked up an empty shot glass and toasted to comrades long gone, to the memories of Harbin. There we go. Ooh, 8-hour workday, not too bad. What's freedom and unity? Now, this isn't a bad one, actually. You might want to work towards that. Let's do the Shadow of Oz. Mikhail Mikulski was many things. He may have been a tyrant, and he may have been a dictator, but he was certainly no idiot, nor was he a raving loon. Mikulski was tactful, smart, and politically skilled. He spent his time working hard to create and preserve a nucleus of support, one that still, regrettably, exists despite his removal from power. The shadow of Oz still hangs over our administration, and supporters hiding in such shadows prevent us from achieving what needs to be done. They need to be rooted out, exposed for who they are. The laborers need to be rendered defenseless and slighted. Those brave enough to do so are even claiming that the former dictator was falsely imprisoned. These individuals are dangerous and must be treated with the same degree of severity as Oz himself. Do you want to do some of these? I'm thinking not, actually. What is this? Non-plus. We're getting to the yellows. Okay. Oh my god, we have a lot of factories. Holy shit. Guess working on some APCs. I might mess around a little bit with some of these divisions. Try out something new. Try to experiment. And from there, more bombers, more CAS, more fighters. I say as I select them in opposite order from each other, but, you know. What are you gonna do? Strat bombers. Attack bombers. We need more aluminum, and we need more rubber. So we might want to go ahead and trade with America. Our friends overseas. And shit, I guess we have to trade with Indonesia here. Okay, armored battalions, infantry fighting vehicles, wait, infantry battalions, back, elite infantry, back, let me just make sure that these are what I'm asking for real quick. APCs. Maybe not, actually. Yeah, these are infantry riding vehicles. Okay. So what are these then? What are these then? Cancel the production line of that. Yeah, get some infantry fighting vehicles going. Motorized. Okay, these are the APCs. Okay. Few motorized. Want some artillery. Infantry. How am I gonna get this up to 20? Is there a way I can do that? Now, why don't I go for 40 width? Just start fucking around with that idea. Fighting vehicles. I think we need motorized or something. These might be a fucking horrible units. I'm not gonna deny the possibility that I could be, that I'm not denying that I have no idea what I'm doing right now. But, oh, this could be okay. I don't know. artillery. If it isn't clear, I don't really know how all this works. But you know what? We're gonna train this. We save that. We'll train some of these guys up. And we'll see how fucking horrible or somehow good they are. This is ridiculous, Alexander Pavlov said to him in his office. Makovsky might have been a criminal, but to abolish his title is a betrayal to our cause. Let's walk back on this Petlin, my friend. We must safeguard the legacy of our predecessors. Makovsky was a good man, and without him, the party would not have reached Siberia. He was a criminal, yes, but all he did for the glory of the motherland. I believe you, Pavlov. However, comrade, without Makovsky, the Dalstroy would not exist as an entity. The papers. The papers in Yakutsk Presidium, remember that? The paper trails he'd burned to cover his trace. The Soviets might not be our allies, but their insight is important. Makovsky is a criminal, and I will see him tried. No traces of influence shall remain in this, my party. I hope you understand. Fine. If you will not recognize his existence, then I will not recognize your government. Listen, Petlin, I never liked you much in the old days, but now there is no reason to hold you back. You are not my Vost, Nikolai Petlin, and I will make sure that the laborists know that. The SIA, too. He stormed out the door. Petlin was tempted to call him out, using the American expression. What was it again? Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Damn, Petlin's giving no craps. Let's disband Dalstroy. Dalstroy, in name a work-for-pay construction program, and in effect a highly efficient series of forced labor camps, is one of perhaps the most damaging effects of Makovsky's legacy. The massive complexes that have admittedly granted us many economic booms have also acted as a symbol of oppression for the Russian people regardless of creed or political affiliation. No more. Dalstroy shall be disbanded, its officials prosecuted to the full extent of our new laws, and the people trapped within the programs free to work wherever they please, returning to families and hometowns. No longer will innocents be forced to work terrible conditions for almost nothing in return. Now that works for me. Oh my god. Yeah, this is fucking horrible to look at. Oh god. They're literally broken. They can't do anything else. It's horrible. Approach immigrant scientists. Not too worried about that. We'll advance that when it's time. Let's get some advanced artillery going. Get a Siberian Spring. Since our conquest of Central Siberia, we've held a tenuous grasp of territories at best. However, it's imperative that we make sure that we integrate them, extending our administration westward and ensuring that we have a concrete grip on our new lands. This way we'll make more in tax revenue, have a larger pool of manpower to draw recruits from, and have a greater well of industry to ensure that the weapons of war that we need to win the unification of Russia will be readily available to our brave soldiers. To do this, there are a number of things that we can do. However, paramount among them is the assurance of rights and liberty for all Russians within our borders, and the education of those Russians on the importance of liberty and freedom, the benefits that those concepts, and by extension our administration, bring them. There we go. Ivan Stepanovich Imashev walked through the streets of Petropavlovsk in the early hours of the morning. The former admiral observed the people as they went around their business. Men and women on their way to factories and shops, parents and children hurried about to find grocers to fill their pantries, and some simply sat on the benches and observed the passing of the day. A smile broke out on his face when he saw a young soldier guide a scared child back to her parents. Every once in a while, a former sailor of the Pacific Fleet would approach him. They would talk of life since the dark days in Kamchatka. The younger would boast of the pregnant wives and new children and the elders of grandchildren, and the relatively easy lives they live now. The admiral always took time to speak with his men, to hear their problems and their triumphs. When his men needed help, he would do his best to give it. And when all they needed was an ear to listen to, he was all too happy to do so. Ivan eventually found his usual haunt, a small bench under the shade of a great old pine tree, facing out in the waters of the Pacific. As he sat, he thought back to the old days, the days after the end of the Great Patriotic War. The Pacific Fleet slowly but surely came together in Petropavlovsk. He remembered the hard times when the fleet, once the pride of a union in the East, were forced to prey on shipping lanes in order to survive. He thought back to the Divine Mandate's fall, to the fascists of the National Republic, the very same republic he now lived in. It was a strange time for the fleet, as the fascists were soon ousted from within by the current president. Now as he gazed out of the waters of the Pacific, he could not help but think how lucky they had been. Disaster had been averted when Petlin and his supporters ousted the Vols and restored the rights of the people. It was strange to think of the origins of the state, but he would say that it was a worthy one. A state that he had come to truly feel at home in. A home for the lost. And that's just beautiful. What else do we got to do? Early industrial robotics. There we go. The bare feeling of legs without shackles was new to Ivanov, but Alstroy had put him to work digging railways and pointless public works for his association with the NKVD. He toiled day and night under starvation rations, sure that he would collapse at every given moment. His body was weak, and the work certainly did him no favors. Ivanov looked at his shoulders and arms, bony without much substance nor muscle. The soup they ladled out, thin and unappetizing, did not provide for much subsistence. Then, armed guards of SNR strode into the camp, arresting everyone. Some of the wardens ran to the woods after a gunfight with the army. Ivanov heard the rogue agents had been detained, awaiting trial, same as with their Vols. The act startled him. Justice in the depths of the Russian Far East was not unlikely, it was impossible. Yet here he was, with soldiers casting off his shackles and delivered him away from that hell. Now his only concern was that he needed a job. However, surely President Petlin and his Prime Minister would take care of that. No more shadows, no more domination by powers that only sought power. Only justice. Improve relations a little bit. Get some jets. Maybe some artillery. Siberian Spring is coming along beautifully. We'll train up 6 of these guys at a time. Let's project democratic ideals. One of the main struggles we face in the Far East, we now face in Central Siberia. Simply put, the Russian people are, for the most part, completely and entirely unfamiliar with how democracy works. Thus, our administration... Apologize, I got something in my throat. Thus, our administration needs to focus a significant amount of time on the promotion of the ideals we espouse. Democracy, liberty, and freedom for all Russians, that is what we envision. And that is what the populace must be led to believe in, to hope in. For if the people can get behind our message, there will be nothing stopping us from establishing a truly free, democratic Russian nation. There we go. Oh, I just realized we're already training an army of these guys. I'm blind. What can I say? Fuck. A stiff wind blew as Vitaly slowly but surely made his way towards the door, shivering and wrapping his arms around himself. He was here. He was really here again. After all that time he'd spent wasting away in Dalstroy, after all the time spent praying death would come for him just a moment sooner, at long last he was returning to the only place that still mattered to him, home. It was strange, really, how it had become such an unfamiliar ward to him. So long he'd spent not daring to think about it, only barely chancing to think of it on occasion, so afraid of showing too much attachment and might condemn them to the same fate. Them, his family, oh, God, his family. How much have they changed in time they've been away? Would they recognize him? Did they even remember him? Then he lowered his hand, anxiously waiting for a response. Even to go away would suffice. He just wanted to know that they were alive. Hello? What can I do for... The woman who had opened the door gasped, her eyes going wide, as though she had seen a ghost. She may as well have. Oh, how he had missed his wife. Did Sophia still love him, he wondered, as he still loved her? Past her, Vitaly could see two teenagers waking up, confused as to the commotion. His son, Valentin, and his daughter, Anna. They locked eyes with the former, the older of the two. The boy's face was an eerie reflection of his own, young against old, curious against cautious, fearless against fearful. Had he looked like that before? What had before been like? He couldn't remember. So instead he smiled and said the only thing he could. I'm home, everyone. Damn. I don't even know what to say. That's beautiful. Promote democratic ideas. Beautiful. Let's reform the courts. To say that the justice system under the tyrant Mikulski was a farce would be too kind. It was more than a farce, a poorly written, hyperbolic work of fiction authored by an uneducated youth that would provide a better framework for justice than the kangaroo courts the former Vols held. Justice was not objective. It was served and dispensed virtually directly from Mikulski himself via parrot judges and puppet juries, who manipulated outcomes and rid the Vols of his opponents. This has long been one of the darkest stains on the legacy of our party, and has until this point held up our development of the future. We must ensure that comprehensive reform of our systems takes place to root out those that have done Mikulski's building, the corrupt, the ideological, and the cowardly. These are the people who have no business judging whether the Russian citizen is guilty or not. So we'll lose a bit of recruitable population, which kind of sucks, but we're working on that. Non-core, right. This is the non-core, I just remembered. Do some more industry. How's our industrial capacity looking like so far? Build some in Tomsk. Krasnoyarsk. A little bit more in Irkutsk. Kamchatka. Let's do some more eastward stuff. Get this region developing a bit more. The Volzd actually hasn't treated it too badly. It's looking okay, but yeah. Well, let me take a look real quick. Primary, how's our poverty rate? We just got out of that poverty rate, right? So we might want to get working on, let's do assembly and then a new course. For new territories coming, for our new territories comes a vast amount of new people. Chief among them, many politicians that once held sway in the warlord states. Some of these politicians could theoretically be rehabilitated and used to help administer Central Siberia. Others could even be welcomed into our party. After all, who better than they, as experts on Central Siberian politics? We showed a conference in Novosibirsk, the most populous city in the region, to discuss with ourselves and these new politicians about the political integration of those areas, as well as to help integrate and normalize those who could be welcomed into our party. There we go. Lydia, Petlin said at the entrance hall, addressing his wife. I'm off. Maybe for some time. It's going to be a few days, weeks, I don't know. I promise you I'll be back soon. He regarded his wife with a broad smile on his face. Petlin was proud of her. A distant in her own right. A powerful and active woman, free of the clutches of Radzevsky and the madman. He shuddered to think of what the deranged Vols had done to her, but she did not tell of her days in Harbin much. See you, dear, Lydia said as she corrected her husband's tie. Where are you going again? I've been on Magadan for so long I don't know much about Russia. Novosibirsk. The city of the sun, as they call it, dear. I know that I will be far from you, but this is necessary. Soon you will leave Magadan, and we shall go westwards. The state cannot hold a government for such a remote position such as Magadan. I liked it here, at least. I know. We'll return here someday when Russia is whole again. Perhaps we'll even cross the straits into America. See Los Angeles, San Francisco. Maybe even Vegas. She smiled, a twinkle of enthusiasm in her eyes. It's a promise, dear. Alright, let's get working on a new course. Get the poverty out of the way, get the industrial expertise up, get our GDP up. We've taken many influences from the Americans in recent years, so why not take one more? No one in our party would argue that our administration needs to depart from the track of that the tyrant Mikovsky had put it on. Excuse me. However, there's been a great deal of speculation on what course we could take. Our leader, Nikolai Petlin, has put forward a proposal that already received a fair amount of traction. A series of programs and public works projects, financial reform, and regional rebuilding that would be funded by the government, akin to what some American politicians believe would be best for their own nation. This would ensure that the government would be able to create a responsible economy and one that would recover from the strains of what has essentially been anarchy until now. Now, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, we can prepare for the war right now. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, this is fucking horrible to look at. It really is. Look at railways, what, manpower. More air bases. Western fortifications. Conference at Novosibirsk should place behind closed doors within the old halls of the city's local presidium. Whatever media that Russia had, as well as some foreign outlets from America, trailed the proceedings. All deputies of the Russian National Party refused to comment. Petlin hurried away in his car before the reporters could reach him, bodyguards shoving the crowds away from him. Whatever that could be gleaned from the discussions seemed to speak in favor of reformism, although no one knew its details. Finally, on one crisp morning, Petlin stepped out on the podium, the rest of the Russian National Party behind him. People of Russia and Siberia, he began, gathering the strength to address the nation, or half of it. I stand before you today, the leader of the Siberian National Republic, its president by the will of arms. But that will be no longer. I declare thusly that political parties are now legal, that the government will now seek approval from its government. We dedicate ourselves to the restoration of a democratic and republican Russia. All eyes were on him. That is all. Cheering broke out as he turned his back to face the party. In the middle of cold Siberia was a small spring of warmth. The media did not know it, but Petlin smiled at their enthusiasm. So we get some liberal democracy, conservative democracy, and authoritarian democracy bonuses. Controlled parties were replaced with multi-party system. There we go. Let's take a look at that. I mean, it's not much, but it's something. War production, some more military factories would be nice. We'll go for those. We got a new course. Let's cage of corporations. One of the ways that the Voz hedged its political power in the nation was by making deals with a number of corporations, Russian or otherwise. These corporations contributed generously to his own personal funds, which he used to buy off opponents, intimidate those who wouldn't be bought, and ensure that his grip on power would never loosen. In return, these corporations would be granted preferential treatment in a quid pro quo scenario. These corporations have, of course, become accustomed to this sort of deal, and now that we're in power, are in what is essentially open revolt due to our refusal to honor the prior deal. Despite their lingering influence in our administration, we need to work to eliminate their legacy in politics so that we can ensure that the government serves neither the military nor the private sector, but instead the Russian people. Now that works for me. We could draft a constitution. I think we'll hold off on that for a wee bit. I wonder, are these actual people or are they just for randomly generated names? I mean, PSR, DPS. They're down the damage per second, okay. I need to wait a little bit. I need to get offensive line. Get working on that. We need these troops to go ahead and drop before I'm willing to really do anything with them. We'll get them out, give them... Let's get with Nikolai Kosov. Put him on the front line. Probably exercise him, honestly. That's probably a... okay bet. Let's do the redemption of Harbin. The city of Harbin, in the heart of Manchuria, is a city of many things. Paramount among them, unfortunately, is the legacy of the RFP, created by the ridiculous character that was once Konstantin Radzevsky. Because of the original origin of the party there, many in the national scene, let alone in Russia, know that it is the center of what was once the organization that systematically terrorized those that believed it to be ideological opponents. But Harbin is so much more than that. A center of Russian emigre culture, a home to many, including our dear leader. A place where cultural roads crossed with one another. Harbin should not be remembered solely as the birthplace of the Russian Fascist Party. We must remember that the memory of where we had our humble beginnings is known as a positive, not a negative one. There we go, just kind of remember the good times. Where is Harbin? I'm trying... there we are, Harbin. Now, there were good times there. The scene was perhaps familiar. Petlin remembered the evening and nights in Harbin, as RFB celebrated Zenith. The swastika, the hooked cross, ran through by electrified lights, shone like a Christmas tree in the freezing winds of Harbin winters. Yet they stood, neither fire nor flames warming their hearts, but through the strength of will alone. Love, too. Love, the strongest of all emotions. It was love that brought them into Russia again. It was love that made them think of Russia when the Japanese and Chinese ignored and discriminated against them. It was also love that also begat Radzevsky's obsession for pure Russia that justified the Dolstoy atrocities. As Petlin and the people of Magadan held the candles in remembrance of such tragedies and feats of will, they closed their eyes and prayed. A soft song, a choir's song, soft hymns to God. Of forgiveness and repentance. Petlin closed his eyes. He remembered his own past, an organizer, of voices that once spoke of him with warmth and looked out for him. Of Makovsky, of Radzevsky. They were young then, and all so foolish. So foolish. When he opened them, the patriarch led the flock through the Lord's Prayer. Petlin followed. And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. How's this going? Political interference. We could go with some more discipline for him. Oh, this will get us up to universal voting. Not bad. Despite all our best efforts, we've witnessed the rise of cronyism and corruption within our armed forces, even from the earliest days, following the trumping of Bandit King Radzevsky and the Tsars of Chita. Plenty of officers maintain political ties, especially warring, are the ones who find themselves closest to the labor swing of our party. Those who would support the tyrant Mikulski. This cannot and will not stand. Our administration has worked too hard to marginalize Mikulski's supporters, and too much has been risked to allow his simmering of military support to boil over into a coup. Again. We must investigate those who have ties with the laborist or any political wing. We should remove the worst, marginalize the others, and by doing so, ensure that the military works for the government, not the other way around. Yeah. I'll give these guys trained up a bit more. I'll do some of the. I'll just start doing that just in case it's not enough. Engineer companies. How's our economy doing? Let me check. We got quite a bit in the reserves. We'll pay down some of our debt. Then we'll up civilian spending. Actually brought us up a lot, so we'll stick with that for now. Cooperative federalism. From top to bottom of our administration, from the government halls in our major cities, from the most basic of village administrative centers, there needs to be cooperation. After all individuals, and by extension all governments, have a shared set of issues that need to be dealt with. Thus, we should begin implementing a system based on the American model of cooperative federalism. That is, all federal, state, and local governments should work together, cooperatively and collectively, in order to solve problems shared among them. This policy is aimed at preventing the respective levels of government from dealing with the problems separately, instead of promoting an atmosphere of collaboration and trust between the highest government officials and the people that they represent. Get those IFEs in. So what, we got 36 troops. Cooperative federalism. Next, let's do streamlined. It's not gonna matter too much. Military construction. Let's do it. Mamma mia, let's fund the Eagles. The eagle has long been emblematic of the United States of America, but it also represents the Russian people. The eagle is chief among birds, the king of the skies. It is a noble beast, filled with endurance, resilience, and power. The American people are represented by the eagle, but so too should the Russians be. By extension, the two eagles of the world should not go alone into the darkness. That is the international community. For meaningful, real reform, surely the Americans will see now a valuable ally in our administration, now and in the future. We should reach out to them once again and continue to tie ourselves to them. The future of Russia is with the Organization of Free Nations. Bennett, my man. Done us well, right? Diplomacy. Look at this dude. Better industrial equipment. Beautiful. There goes the Iranian Civil War. Oh. Look at that. Seems our efforts to strengthen ties with the United States have been borne fruit. Our Foreign Office has received word from American diplomats they are interested in increasing economic and diplomatic relations between our two nations. All that remains now is to sort out the details, but that shouldn't be too much of a challenge for the Foreign Ministry. This could be the start of a beautiful relationship indeed. Wonderful. Let's address the uranium problem. I guess go back and pause if you wanted to read that. Offensive line. How much? What? 65. So another 20 when that's done. 10 when that's done. Second Night of the Long Knives. Life does not forgive weakness. Adolf Hitler. To last forever. How's that going for you, bald man? Not well so far. We'll see whether or not these guys can pull out a victory from that. Should we just sweep westwards? I think we'll just sweep westwards, honestly. Let's expand the Siberian mines. Start. They have a lot of troops, but I believe they also have something that fucks them. Yep. You should have a look at the Krasnoyarsk hockey team. Foreign Minister Yuri Vaslov said, pointing to Krasnoyarsk on a map of Siberia for the businessman Magadan hotel room that they were sitting in. Yes, they are in a very far-off location, but they are very tough and hardy nonetheless. They'll make excellent athletes if you give them proper training. The businessman in question, Jason Morrison, stared at the map. Are you sure it'll be worth it? Of course! With American money in the team's coffers, they'll have the coaches and equipment they need to be stars on the international trade. Starostin. Am I missing anything else? Vasilov replied. Morrison looked at Starostin. The city of Krasnoyarsk has fallen on hard times. The sports team is no exception. If you invest, even to something as ephemeral as sports, it'll go a long way to getting the city back on track to be one of the great industrial centers in Siberia. Another pause as Morrison considered the city's value in the team. We'll start at 100 grand a month. If team shows signs of improving after 3, I'll increase it to 2. The room muttered in agreement as the two ministers parted the room together. It was important for a new nation like Siberia to get as many powerful allies as it could. While sports may seem trivial, that businessman was willing to invest in a field like this was a sign that much closer ties to the U.S. would be made in coming months. And perhaps the citizens may well benefit from such bonds as well. I just noticed we moved our capital to Novosibirsk. That is interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, shit, so far so good. Let's advance. Oh, we can't advance for developmental phase quite yet. Gonna have to wait for the new month. Expand the Siberian mines. Let's source some foreign material. Pause if you want to read it. And it's time to go, so let's give it a shot. So we just push in? I'm thinking we just try to push it. Yeah. Oh my god, they're falling apart like it's like cutting into butter with a hot knife. Starting to slow down a bit more on that front, but Omsk is just falling apart. Yeah, Omsk, it's not even funny. We'll hold off there. Not Navy, hold on, Air Force. get them established up to there. There we go. And I'll help us up. Next, we'll chase for sun. Pause. And we gotta cut it here, folks. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content in the future, hit the sub button for help us every weekday, as well as every Saturday. If you have any comments, feedback, and support, anything of the sort, leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get. I appreciate any and all feedback you might have for me. If you want to chat, play games, anything of the sort, leave it in the... check out my Discord down linked below. If you want to send a few bucks my way every month, I have a Patreon. If you want to see me do a social life, I have a Twitch, all of which are down in the description box below. That's really it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching. My name has been Dogboat333, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.